Welcome back, Shalligators. We're going to continue breaking down the Keeping Up with the Kardashian reunion because, the show is over. I know you don't like them, but just get over it and accept that they have a lot of lessons to impart by serving as an example of things that a lot of us go through. And one of those things is breakups. Wow. We have seen the Kardashians marry, divorce, rinse, repeat for like years and years and years. And on part 2 of the reunion with Andy Cohen, Khloe opened up about her relationship, her marriage with professional basketball player / drug addict Lamar Odom. And to the surprise of many, Khloe said, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't undo it if I could. It had to happen. And it really was a beautiful time in my life in a lot of ways. But she also talked about closure. And closure is one of those things that seems to exist maybe for other people, but for our own selves can kind of be elusive. What is closure? How do we get it? If you're struggling with a breakup, whether it's a breakup with a friend or a relationship or whatever, I'm going to tell you how to actually get closure when you need it. But before we get started, Alligators, it would be great if there was a tidy little way to dispose of boys we didn't want anymore, right? I mean, what's our option? We just drop them back off at the bar we met them at and just hope another girl scoops them up? It's not great. But fortunately, when it comes to fashion, jewelry, watches, shoes, bags, and all that good stuff, there is a way to give back the things you're maybe not using anymore, make a few bucks in the process, and shop some items that do fit you a little bit better. It's called TheRealReal.com. On The Real Real, you can shop and sell designer fashion. They have an app, a website, and even a few brick and mortar stores, especially one in New York City. You can shop brands like Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Reformation, or my favorite, Cartier baby, at up to 90% off. Plus, The Real Real has a team of experts that authenticate every single item sold to make sure that it's, well, real. If you want to sell some pieces you no longer use, there's a few different ways to do it. You could ship them in, you could book an at-home pickup with the luxury manager, or you can drop it off at one of the brick and mortar stores. There are so many options to give back and make a few dollars in the process, right? I feel like every time I turn around, I'm seeing something about how bad fast fashion is for planet Earth and how toxic and polluting that industry is. But look, we are balling on a budget, okay? We have to protect our Mother Earth, but we also have to protect our finances. So shopping on The Real Real luxury consignment is a fantastic alternative to filling your closet with like a bunch of cheap, ratty clothes you're gonna hate in a season anyway. Buy some things that are not only sustainable for planet Earth, but sustainable for your own fashion sense. Things you're gonna keep, love, enjoy, get compliments on, and feel like a quality, glamorous girl wearing in the process. So go ahead and click the link in the bio to find out how you can buy and sell on TheRealReal.com and get $25 off your first order. Okay, let's talk Kardashians. So there was a lot to come out of these reunions, and I might do some more videos on it because I feel like celebs don't really do that much during the summer. Like, life kind of shuts down, so there's just not like a ton of news, but there's always stuff to be learned from the Kardashians, right? And I think Khloe is especially true because Khloe is like by far and away the fan favorite. You know, I think we find her, it's like, and I've always said this, she talks, it's like, oh, she's so smart and she's so with it. And then you look at the decisions she makes though, and you're like, it makes us crazy. Like Tristan, But she was talking about Lamar, and they were married, I don't even know, whatever. They were married and it was a disaster. He was like literally smoking crack, OD'd in a whorehouse, as bad as it could go. So she said this. She said she really appreciates public statements made by Lamar in recent years in which he's shared happy memories about their relationship. And so he posted recently on Instagram, like that he was watching Khloe and Lamar, like their TV show that they had, like, my show with my ex-wife. I want to thank Chris, Kim, blah, 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 the whole family for taking me in and loving me without judgment. Y'all gave me family, and for that, I am forever grateful. That's sweet. And Khloe also said on the reunion, our marriage ended in a way that there was not a lot of closure. And so when you get out of a marriage where you're not really able to have a discussion with someone, I feel like it's hard for you to move on. You feel incomplete. You're always questioning things. So finally, to get that closure or just that acknowledgement for me, you do get the validation. This is why I love this family. Because sometimes they encapsulate things. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking really weird. I bit my tongue right before this and it's like killing me. So I feel like I'm talking like I have a stroke. If I'm like slurring my words. Yeah, anyway. Because I was doing this video, and we've done a video or two on closure, like a long time ago, but, you know, we need to update it. And I'm like, closure. Closure. What is closure? Well, I thought it's an explanation. It's like, why did you ghost me? Why didn't things work out? Why would you get back with your ex instead of me? Because I'm better and my tits are barkier. We want an explanation. But Khloe said one word in that quote that stood out to me that really does say it all. Validation. When we think about it, yes, we want an explanation. But what we want that explanation to do is give us the validation that this wasn't all in our head. That this meant something to them too. That maybe this pain we're in is appropriate and that we weren't just in a relationship by ourselves. And I remember Khloe had said that when Tristan cheated on her the first time. She's like, you feel like you're just in a relationship by yourself. And it's so true. And when we talk about cheating, the phrase I always go back to that I tell you guys is, cheating is so hurtful because it means you've been making decisions based on a reality that doesn't exist. You've been making a we choice, they've been making an I choice. And that, it kicks up our social inclusion needs. Oh, I thought I was part of this tribe, this family I created. No, not only am I not part of a tribe, I didn't know that I wasn't part of a tribe. When you're single, you know you're single. I had an ex cheat on me and what I said to him, because I started dating kind of soon after that. He's like, I can't believe you're dating. I'm like, oh, I've been single for a year and a half. I just didn't know it. And he was like, oh, he's just like withered. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, is that wrong? So it kicks up those social inclusion needs. And underneath that, you feel like a fool. You feel like a fool. And you feel like you've squandered this affection and this empathy and more than anything else, time. What's our non-renewable resource? Time. We only have so much and we don't know how much we have. So are we wasting our time with someone? Did we just lose 6 months, 6 years? Or do we have much more time than this? And hey, this is okay. We don't know. This is the crazy making part. So to not have this validation, to be cheated on, kicks up social inclusion needs, which is our most strong need beyond food and shelter, right? It's the next thing we need. And also our own mortality. So no shit, we go crazy when we don't have closure. These are big existential things, big things. But you got to dial down that hysteria. Okay, this family you thought you were part of, this tribe, this dyad that you created. Okay. Oh, that's funny. He was just able to ghost me like I didn't matter. Okay. But your friends don't ghost you. Maybe your family doesn't ghost you. Your pets don't ghost you. You still have those social, my tongue hurts. Social inclusion needs. You still have those. You just have to know where to look for them. I'm getting off topic. Closure is something we give to ourselves. Closure is something we give to ourselves. Now, Shallon, what are you talking about? You just said it's validation. You need another person to validate the seriousness of your relationship. You need them to say like, no, I really did love you too. And I'm sorry I ghosted because I'm stupid and I'm this. You need that. And only the other person can give it to you. Really? I don't think so. You can't look for healing in the same place you got hurt. If the person who hurt you so bad you need closure, if they were able to give you a relevant explanation full of self-awareness, empathy, conscientiousness, do you think they would have hurt you this bad to begin with? If they were that mature, they would not have ghosted. They would not have cheated. They would not be back with their ex who's a fucking Instagram model. They would not be doing that. We are looking for high-level cognition with the one person we have proof is incapable of it. If you broke your leg skiing, I use this example a lot because I'm fucking terrified of skiing. It seems like the stupidest thing. Throwing yourself down a mountain, that's gonna go great. If you broke your leg skiing, would you recoup and do physio on a ski slope? No, you wouldn't. You would acknowledge that's where I got hurt. I'm staying off that damn mountain. I'm gonna do my physical therapy with a physical therapist. I'm gonna recoup in my bed in a safe place. When I feel better, I might go back to that mountain, but that time is not now. And yet when we get emotionally hurt, my friend hurt me. I need to get this. This guy hurt me. I need to go back there. Why? It goes back to that validation. We want to know that our pain is not just in vain. We want to know that we're not stupid for feeling this way. We want to know that this person cares. You know what? They don't. They don't. And I say this because intentions don't mean shit. You ever heard the phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? I never understood what that meant until I started dating people. You know, the example I use is the drunk driver. Does a drunk driver intend to run over somebody when they're coming home from the bar? No. That doesn't mean it's not so. That doesn't mean it's impossible, nor does it mean if it does happen that there's no consequences for it. Well, they didn't mean to. Maybe it's not as bad as outright planned murder, but when you look at the outcome, what's the difference? What do intentions actually mean if the result is always you getting hurt? Because then what's happening? You are the one hurting yourself by giving excuses to this person who, positive intentions or not, is an emotional drunk driver. If you don't think it's appropriate to go to court and vociferously defend drunk drivers who hit and kill people, why are you doing it in your own life emotionally? Why are we doing that? Because we want validation? Because we want to think they cared. You know what we do here a lot? We look at worst case scenarios. Monsters live in the dark and we walk in the light of the truth. What if it didn't mean anything to him? What if your friend dropped you and she really doesn't miss you? And all those secrets you told her, she actually doesn't care. What if I told you that, right? Okay, like I had a guy flake on a date the other night. What would you tell me? Well, Shallon, you're an idiot. I mean, you are the idiot for believing he was going to show up. I mean, what's wrong with you? Would you say that? Would you think it? No. You'd be like, well, of course you thought he was going to show up, and what were you going to not because you assumed he would? I mean, you can't live like that. Like, you lived exactly how you would. He didn't show up because there's something wrong with him. Okay. If I said a friend betrayed me, would you be like, well, I mean, yeah. You'd be like, well, there's something wrong with her. Again, you're not telling this to yourself in your own life. You're making excuses for these people to the detriment of your own soul. You're saying, I had a part in this. We all have parts in our own outcomes. We do. But if we're telling ourselves that the only way to justify my emotional output in a relationship is to get this gold star from somebody else, number one, we're going to be waiting a very long time. And number two, we're selling ourselves short. Maybe the reason you want that validation, I mean, it could be, I don't know. I'm thinking about this. Like when I think of the times I've needed closure, you know, it's when someone has hurt me and like bamboozled me and I feel blindsided. But also when I look at it, if I'm being honest, I wasn't really that blindsided. If I was really going to honestly log the red flags and the data points and just the anxiety, this like low grade anxiety I had, where are they? I'm looking at rereading my text and well, help me, what should I write? Should I write this? I'm going to send it to everyone in the group chat. Should I send that? Like that feeling of emotional unease. You know what that is? That's your intuition saying, ooh, get out of there. Get out of there. This isn't a restful place. This isn't a cognitive, respectful, reciprocal person. This is a situation that makes us profoundly uncomfortable. And maybe there's a reason. And when things go belly up, like I want the validation and the closure to justify my justifications of staying in this bullshit relationship. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. Because if not only do I have to be mad at him, I have to be mad at me. I have to look myself in the eye and be like, I'm a clown. I'm a fucking clown. I knew it. Everyone else knew it because they told me. And I didn't listen to it because I am a clown. I'm not just a clown. I'm a desperate clown. I'm a desperate clown. That's great. That's great. Who wants to know that? Who wants to tell themselves that? Nobody. None of us do. So instead, we look for this justification from this other person. This is why we fixate on exes and we want to get them back, so that it's not just a sad story, a story that started shitty and ended even shittier, a sad story in service of nothing. No. We want it to be a chapter, a sad chapter, in a wonderful happy ending. Yeah, he went to rehab, but he got out, and then we got back together and happily ever after. Not, well, you dated a drug addict for no real reason except for your own detriment because your self-esteem was bad. The end. We don't want that. We want a champion story, right? We don't want a victim narrative. We don't. We want a champion story. But closure and champion stories are something we give to ourselves. I talk a lot about champion stories because I view myself as a champion. We did a video recently on how to cope with failure, and I truly think it's one of the best videos I've ever done, even though it was about Logan Paul. So hot. So, hate him, but so hot. And how he fought Floyd Mayweather, and like failed, didn't knock him out, but he was like, this is the greatest day of my life. I'm so proud of myself, right? And I talked about failure, and I'm like, I truly don't think I've ever failed at anything in my life, because we have our phrase, I never lose, I win, or I learn. Nelson Mandela said that. I never lose. I win, or I learn. And so I have learned to reframe everything negative in my life, from my father's suicide to my divorce to getting canceled, as a fucking champion story. Why? Because you can't change what happened, but you can change what it meant. Those things happened. They're carved in stone. They're not going anywhere. And I can either choose to look at it as a win. That's kind of, doesn't really feel like a win, right? Or it's a learn. Okay, well, I can look at it as a learn. I can learn something. I can learn to live every day for myself. I can learn to be realistic about what I want and need from a relationship. I can learn that I am unfucking defeatable. And I'm more resilient and strong than I am aware of. That's how champion narratives happened. Why are we talking about this? Because your heartbreak, the ghosting, the cheating, the betrayal, it happened. It happened. So you can change what it meant, but you can. Yeah, it would be great if a guy could come along and validate, I embarrassed you. I was careless. I was childish. I had a guy say that to me recently, and I was like, thank you. I really appreciate it. It was so mature and so thoughtful. But it wasn't super necessary. I mean, I've had so many guys be absolutely shitbirds and like never apologize, and or the well, I'm sorry, like this bullshit apology. And I have learned to create those champion narratives out of there. And I have stopped looking for that healing in the same place I got hurt. So when I did have a guy like actually like acknowledge what he did and how it made me feel, I was like, like younger me would be like, oh my God, that would just stitch me back together. Like I would be unbroken. This would be everything that I needed. And it was nice. It was nice because I am able to view him as a really great person, right? I'm like, wow, that's a great guy. Like, hey, things didn't work out. That's all right. I have nothing but wonderful things to say about this dude. So in that sense, it was great. But I'd already dealt with it. I'd already come to my own conclusions. I had already given myself the closure and the validation. And in that situation, I did need the validation. Was I just this idiot who had misinterpreted something and I wasn't getting my needs met? Let's go back to that worst case scenario. Okay, let's say that I was. I was an idiot. I embarrassed myself. I had totally the wrong idea. Whatever, What's the learn? Let's say you got cheated on. A guy comes to you, and this happened. Someone I loved very much cheated on me almost relentlessly. So, and I mean, talk about closure. I have gotten nothing but closure from him. I mean, talk after talk, and he's in therapy and learning all these things. And it's just like, that's great. That's great that you know why you did it. But at the end of the day, again, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't do what you think it's going to. This is my point. Closure, if you get it, does not do what you think it's going to. You're not unbroken. You're not whole again, no scars. At least not because of that. If you are unbroken, if you've moved forward and you've decided to love and trust again, what's the key word there I just said? Decided. You decided. You did that work for yourself. You weren't waiting, oh, is he going to validate me? If you are, if you need to hear it from this other person, like we said, you're going to be waiting a long ass time and it's not going to do what you think it does. That has to happen in here. Oh, okay, so I got ghosted or cheated on, but I get to do more work. I know. Believe me, I know. But this kind of thing, closure, like confidence, high self-esteem, I compare it to like working versus printing your own money. If you were able to print your own money, real money, at home, would you go like work at Golden Spoon? No, you would never work. You'd just make your own money. You wouldn't need anything from the outside. You're like, I got it. This is the same kind of thing. Yeah, it's going to take a minute to figure out how to print your own money and how to get your closure and your self-esteem. But once you do, once you get that machine running, honey, it's off to the races. And the more you do it, the easier it is. And then you look around, you're like, I don't need this outside thing. I don't need the outside validation. I don't need the outside closure. I'm printing this on the inside here. I've learned how to give this gift to myself. I am an emotional island now. I'm a warm-blooded animal, aren't I? And is it fun? No. It's always, on the surface, easier to wait for someone else to get what we want, right? Do you ever you're hungry and it's like, oh, like I'm just starving, and you drive by like the drive-thru and you see the line, you're like, fuck, the line's so long, and you're like, fuck it, I'll just go home and cook for myself. It's annoying, but it's better, faster, and ultimately healthier for you to just give it to yourself. To just give it to yourself and stop relying on people, unhealthy people, who again, if they could truly give you what you needed, you would not be here in the first fucking place. To rely further on those people to make you whole again. What kind of sense does that make? So I know what you're saying. All right, yeah. I am gang and on board for this self-closure thing. How do we do it? What is this? Like, what is this? Okay, here's literally real world how you get closure. Write a letter. Oh, I'm a big fan of writing letters. Studies show that the act of hitting send on a text gives you this dopamine release. You're like, it's in and of itself an act of closure, sending something. It's ritualistic. We've talked before about why people like rituals, Catholicism, funerals, parades. We enjoy this because it tells us, it sets out, it's a plan. And we as humans have a low chaos tolerance. Like, we wouldn't run the globe if we had a high chaos tolerance. I don't know, where do we live? Where do we eat? I don't know. No, we like plans. We like to know. We're the most highly developed species for a reason. And so if we're like, this is literally the plan for closure. This is the playlist. This is the actions. This is the boyfriend bonfire we're going to have in the backyard, burning all his shit. We go through these motions, and because our mind is in such a state of cognitive dissonance and misery, meaning how we want life to be does not match how it is. That's cognitive dissonance. I hate this job, but I work 6 days a week. Cognitive dissonance. Because of that, when we can give our mind a life raft out of here, okay, we're in misery, but we've decided, or society decided, whoever has decided that if we do X, Y, and Z, we're going to feel better. Your brain's like, oh, fuck, okay, great. I would love to feel better. Thank you. Fine. Even if it doesn't make sense, like, why would setting my boyfriend's jeans on fire make me feel better? You know, I did once. I cut all the crotches out of a boyfriend's pants. They mentioned on Golden Girls one time, and I was like, we're doing this. It takes a remarkably long time. Jeans are quite thick. You need like fabric scissors. I went and got them. Anyway, symbolism was my life, just like Dorothy's board. But when we do this, our brain is like, great, we are on board. Our psyche is on board because we don't actually want to linger in this pain state. So right now, we're going to come up with like a closure funeral. Write a letter. Here's the thing. You don't send it. No, girl. I know what you're like, you just said you hit send, that dopamine release. Yes, but one trick for closure that I started doing and it's going to sound so deranged and insane because it is, but it is also the most effective thing. When my Hurt Locker and my very first Hurt Locker, the athlete, when we broke up, I mean, I was beside myself. And it was my fault. Like, I left him. I was just beside myself. Stupid. But I couldn't, like, get past it. And so one of my best friends, she's like, I want you to change my name in your phone to his name. And every time you're drunk, because that's when I'd be like, oh, and you feel like you want to text him, text me. Take his contact completely out of your phone. Send it to me. I'll store it for you so that you don't accidentally text the real him. And send it to me, and I will respond like I am him. I was like, that's so stupid. Okay, I'll try it. That sounds fine. And I swear to God, it worked. Because it was the release, it was the hitting send, and it was her writing back, I'm so sorry I hurt you. I will love you forever. You're the best girl I've ever met. Like, okay. Because I was in such a high state of cognitive dissonance. Exactly. My psyche was like, fine, we will all buy into this ridiculous thing that she's doing, but we can't miss him anymore. We can't be sad about this anymore. We got to move forward. So, okay. It didn't get me 100% of the way there, but it took the edge off. And it kept me from texting the real him when I'd had, like a few too many beers. Like, it really did help. But I want you to write a letter in addition to this. Get it all out. Get it out there. Get it out there. This is not a letter you were ever going to send. Why? Because you're going to look crazy. You're going to look crazy. Okay? And we always talk about breakups. They can take your heart. They can take your past. They can take your future. They cannot take your dignity unless you hand it to them on the way out in the form of these like gushy, fawning things. Like, I don't do that. I don't like give this postmortem thing. I don't send mean texts. I don't really even tell guys how I feel. If I'm at the point where I have to be like, you hurt me, blah, blah, blah. My theory is like, you're dead in the water. It doesn't matter. If you have to tell someone to care about you, they don't. It's like asking someone to buy you a present. Can you please surprise me? They're like, what? Right? Then again, counterpoint. This, and I sort of realized this last night. I was on the phone with my mom, and I recently like broke things off with someone, and I told him exactly why. I'm like, I don't feel like you respect my time. I am extraordinarily busy, and if you don't respect my time, that means you don't respect how I fundamentally live my life, and I can't. I'm just letting you know why I'm stepping away from this. And my mom was like, I can't believe you said that. That's just not you. Like, you don't tell guys how you feel. And we talked it out. And she's like, I think that's the New Yorker in you. Because in New York, like, it's hard to explain. Like, the city moves so fast. And there's such immediacy and a tertiary quality to everyone and everything. I mean, the city never sleeps. Rah, we're always on the go. Just the fact that you can walk outside, wherever you are, put your arm out, and a car comes and whisks you away. You don't really have to face a lot of consequences for things, And you can blend into the fabric of the city and you will never see that boy again. It's not a small town where you're going to run into people. And so guys run a lot of games on you, and I am good at running game right back. Like, I'm, very manipulative if I want to be. And I don't speak the truth. I just, that's like kind of the last thing I do. But one of my best friends here in Montana, she's very honest. She's just like the sweetest, most honest person. And she'll tell guys like, what's up? And she'll show me the text and I'm like, like my soul leaves my body thinking about speaking that plainly. And she's like, Shallon, you should try it. Like, you're allowed to say how you feel. I'm like, okay. And I have been. And it's been like really therapeutic, It's not that it's necessarily impacted the outcome, right? Because like I said, if you have to be like, you need to care more, they don't. So, but there's a difference between being like, this is how I feel. This is how I want to feel. I'm not. Versus you need to do more. What I need. We can tell people how we feel. And like, if they can't take the bait, like, hey, if you flake on a date 5 minutes before you're supposed to be there, I feel disrespected and deprioritized. And it's hard for me to respect you and prioritize you if that's how you make me feel. Now, if someone's into you, they're going to know what to do and how to fix it. You don't have to tell them. So my point is, I have been much more honest lately, and it's worked well because I feel unburdened. They know the deal. And I do think this relates to being in a small town in Montana, because like you really don't have the luxury of burning bridges here. I mean, you don't. Like these people, like they know each other. They have mutual friends. It's like, ugh, like we all can't run around being like shady, sneaky assholes. It just breeds a lot more transparency, which is interesting. So I've been trying to do that. And by doing that, again, I give myself closure because I'm speaking my truth. Like there's that John Mayer song, my future husband, Say What You Need to Say. I believe, yeah. And it's like, say what you need to say. If you need to say something, say it. But you say it without hope or agenda. You make a statement, not a dialogue. So much of the time, what we view as closure is actually us giving them one more chance to try to talk us out of walking away from a toxic situation. If we're being honest, I need closure. We need to sit and talk about this. Girl, do you mean that? Or do you mean we need to sit and talk so you can charm me into staying because holy fucking shit, I don't want to leave. I will sacrifice my pride, my future, the good opinion of all my friends. Please, please talk me out of this. Is that what we're doing? Man, do I get it. That's what I was doing when I wanted closure. No, I wanted one more crack at the apple. I wanted attention. And I didn't care if it was positive or negative. I didn't care if I was writing the most deranged, unhinged, like, blah, and another thing, right? I didn't care. I just wanted their attention. When I acknowledged that and the futility of it, then closure wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really a thing. I was sad and I didn't want it to end. And I wanted them to give me one more chance to stay. But the times when I really was done, like someone I referred to that I'm like, you don't respect my time. I didn't need to say that much. It was very short and very sweet because I was done. I didn't want to be talked back into this. It was boring and annoying. I don't like you. You're disrespectful. It's stupid. There's not a lot to say. Hey, I'm stepping back. I'm sorry. I didn't need to go on and on and on. Didn't need to get their input. I didn't need to get their validation. It was whatever. It was fine. He needs to know how he treated me. You know the surest sign? You know the best thing? It's Rihanna's quote. I have no need for revenge. I no longer belong to him, and that's punishment enough. Believe me, they feel it, right? We don't need to send these, you're going to regret these texts. Let them simply feel it. Let them simply feel it. We have to play the long game. I am a very strategic person. I am, almost to a fault that like I can't just kind of go with the flow and enjoy moments sometimes. I'm always like chess moving ahead. I think because I just felt so kind of like spineless and obedient a lot of my life that I'm like, I don't want to be run over by people. So I'm going to get out in front of all of these things. And now it's like, I can't really turn it off. But I'd rather live like this than feel like I had no agency in my own life. But my point is, I'm trying to use strategy to help myself, right? And to find a healthy balance between saying what I need to say without the hope of it turning into a dialogue, okay? And sometimes we do need to let people know how much they've hurt us. I'm a big believer now on calling out ghosters. I never used to be because, again, I'm very prideful. I don't show my hand. I don't do that. But there's a difference between you hurt me and I'm so hurt and you've disrespected me and you've embarrassed yourself. Because people who ghost, I believe that they do. I mean, well, they're fucking cowards. Like they're truly the bottom of the barrel in society. But also they do it because they told themselves, oh, she's mine, it doesn't matter. When I've ghosted people, that's what I told myself. And these are people who I've gone on like a Tinder date with, not like someone I was sleeping with. I think once you've hooked up, you cannot ghost someone. But if you haven't, if it's like a date, I mean, come on. It's just, it's so annoying. And also, I think women do have more right to ghost because men can be really combative if you tell them the truth. I mean, it can be honestly like dangerous. Like when guys have been like, oh, so you don't want to go out again? And I'll like give them the real truth. Remember that white rapper on go to my Instagram and click Tinder and you'll see the whole fucking saga. I was like, hey, I don't think we should go out anymore because I looked at his social media and it was insane. It was like he's this like 100-pound white rapper, sketchy as fuck. And I'm like, ew, this is not who I thought you were. I was just like, I just don't think we'd mesh. He's like, fuck you, you stupid bitch. Like, just went off the deep end. I'm like, this is why you get ghosted and you deserve to. This is why. So, hey, man, don't cultivate that in your own life. Like, foster an environment where people can talk to you. But at the end of the day, we're not responsible for the behaviors of others. We're not. But I call out ghosters now. And you know what I say? Like, I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed. I viewed you as a mature, cognitive, communicative person. I apologize deeply for misreading you as being on my level. And I'm honestly like, I'm embarrassed that this is actually where you are. Because it's not great. Shame them. If you are going to call someone out, shame them. I shame my dog. Shame on you. And he's like, He just knows what it means. He's like, oh, he doesn't, but he does. Shame on you. It's very effective. The word embarrassed is very effective. Ugh, like I'm embarrassed for you. I'm not embarrassed for me. I approach this in a heart open, eyes open, empathetic, loving way, trusting way. I'm embarrassed for you. Never be embarrassed that you were the one capable of love. Never be embarrassed. Shitty people weaponize our best trait and turn it into our worst, don't they? They turn it against us. Ew, you were just so into me. Shut up, fuck up, you shrimp dick bitch. Of course I was into you. I'm a loving, wonderful person, and you're a fucking con man. So who's the crazy one here? It's you, my dude. It's you. It's not me who's demonstrated that I can be communicative, loving, warm, open-minded. You're the clown. You're the clown. Not me. Clowns think people are laughing with them. They're laughing at them. So if you're going to do it, do it right. Go back to the art of war. Strike hard and strike big, but you strike once. You strike once. Say what you need to say. Get it out with a minimum of crazy. Have someone edit it down. Hey, I just want you to know that your behavior really has changed my opinion of you. And honestly, thank God you left. Because you are not actually the person I thought you were. And I could not possibly have someone like you in my life. So I believe your behavior, your ghosting, your cheating, I believe it's a gift. Thank you for giving me no choice but to see the real you. Wow. And thank you for doing me the favor of leaving me. So convenient. There's so many ways to go about this. But again, I want you to come up with that emotional funeral plan. Whether it's you burn his stuff, you write the whole letter and you just like mail it off to Santa. Don't send it to these people. If you do, it's got to be this big. Send it, text it, block the number. Block the fucking number so that you're not even like, because look, I get drawn into conversations. I'm an arguer and I'm almost always right. So like, I'm definitely good. Like I take the bait. It's really hard for me not to. So I don't even go fishing. I don't even like reach out. I don't say these things. This is part of the reason why. But if I do have to say something, I send it and then I block the number. I don't tell them like, I'm blocking you, but just so I don't even have to see a response because I'm not interested in a dialogue. Did you know that if you block someone on your phone, it still comes up on iMessage? If you have an iPhone, you can sign in through iMessage. So that's kind of like my little like emotional safety net. Like if I need to block someone for a little while, it's like, okay, if I really am like freaking out thinking I'm not getting whatever their messages are, it'll come through on the desktop. So it's not too bad. It's kind of a little pathetic person hack. So to recap, closure is another word for either validation that they had skin in this game too. And if it turns out they didn't, look at what you can learn from that. Were you ignoring red flags that kept you in a situation that was actually a dead end? When you pull back, were you watering a dead plant? What did this person represent that kept you there? What were you telling yourself? What was a spook story in your mind to keep plugging into something? Or does closure actually mean I am giving you one last chance to talk me out of this? Why? Again, go to the root. What about this can you not let go of? And to hold on to it, are you willing to pay the price of your self-esteem? And if you truly do need some sort of closure, if you're just stuck in neutral on this breakup, come up with the closure funeral plan. Write the letters. Leave a voicemail on your friends and another thing. Even if it's not to them, say what you need to say in a controlled, dignified, shame-based way, because people hate to be shamed, love it, love to do it, hone in on their shadow selves and really just like twist the knife. Say it once, block, don't engage again. Unfollow them on everything, block them on everything. You cannot look for healing in the same place you got hurt. We'll be back next time. I'm going to be in Mexico, and I don't know my upload speed, so I don't know if I can upload. And honestly, I just need to unplug. Like I said, it's going to be my summer of slacking, but I promise that when I do videos, they're going to be good. Well, B-, C+, but C's get degrees. I'll see you later, Shalligators.